Salud amigos,
Greetings, friends,
tripulantes de nuestra
crew
querida,
member of our
contaminada
beloved,
y única
polluted,
nave
and
espacial.
unique spacecraft,
La misma que, desde la
which,
última vez que nos vimos por
since the
estos
last time
medios,
we
ha dado
met,
otra vuelta
has
sobre su
taken
eje
another
imaginario y,
turn
por
about its
supuesto,
imaginary axis, and of
sigue
course,
generando acontecimientos en
continues
pleno
creating
desarrollo.
events in plain
Y si no me
development.
ven de pie, es que tenemos un invitado
If you don't see me standing up, it is
el lugar
because we
común de
have a
decir, un
guest.
invitado muy
And
especial.
we often say that
Bueno,
we
este
have a
sí es
very
muy
special
especial y no es
guest,
un lugar común.
but this one is very, very special.
Compañero de muchas batallas,
He has been a partner in many battles.
huelga decir que ambos de formación demócrata cristiana y
We
de la
are both
izquierda dura
Democrats and
cristiana, lo
Christians,
cual no era muy
and of course
recomendable
left wing,
aún con
which
gobiernos
wasn't
de
recommendable back then with different governments.
sobre todo. Bueno, vamos a disfrutar de
Well,
esto.
let's
Ex
enjoy
canciller,
this.
ex
He's
embajador
a
en todas
former chancellor,
partes.
he's been an ambassador
¿Qué
almost
más?
everywhere. What else can we say about him?
¿Cómo te presento? ¿Como
How,
doctor
how
qué?
can I introduce
¿Como
yourself?
licenciado qué?
As a doctor? Well, it would be enough for you to introduce me as a good citizen committed with his country. The ambassador's
Roy
degree
Chaderton.
goes for
Roy
the
Chaderton
rest of your
Matos.
life.
Es decir,
Roy
lo que
Chaderton
ha
Matos,
marcado
that's his name.
estilo
And this has
y nos ha
created in
representado
style,
con gran
and
estilo
he
a
has
nivel
represented
internacional.
us
Hay muchos embajadores
abroad,
de
and there are
carrera y
many,
con,
many
como dicen, un
ambassadors who have
chiste de
created that
Cancillería,
career,
otros a la
and
carrera,
many
pero
others
tú siempre
have done
marcaste
so
territorio
in
como un gran
a
diplomático,
best
con elegancia para
way in order to
el
leave the name of our country high.
toque
But you were always
del área
elegant,
sensible
living
del que nos
the most
confronta
sensitive areas of the
y
country,
lo
our
pinchabas, lo
counterpart,
revolvías y no le
and you
salía
always
sangre,
knew
¿no?
what to say
Hasta ese punto
and
de
where
decir,
to go. They used to thank me after that for
la
doing the
estocada
things
viene a
required.
vernos.
You
Dime
were
una cosa,
the real one, the
¿en
one who
qué
knew
diablo
how to
de mundo
carry
estamos con
things.
toda tu experiencia
So,
diplomática
what can you tell us
y
about
con
the
este
world with all
energúmeno
your
de la Casa
diplomatic
Blanca,
experience
Trump,
and with
que
all
se nos viene encima? ¿Qué
that's
pasa con
happening
los
with Trump, the
hermanos
maniac of
entre
the White House,
vergonzosas
and what's
comillas
happening
de
with
la
the
República de
brothers
Colombia que
of
ya
the Colombian
tienen todas las
Republic?
bases listas
They
para
have
servir de
all their
portaaviones
bases
contra
ready
nosotros?
to be
Los traidores
spacecraft
los
and
descendientes de traidor Santander siguen
aircraft
galopes,
carriers
¿no?
for us, and the sons of Trader Santander continue there. Well, there are 200 years of envy of Venezuela, of resentment against
Hasta
us.
el nombre nos
We
deben.
even gave the name to Nueva Granada, that then became Colombia. We gave them our people. We gave them our victory in many important battles. And during the 20th century and the 21st century, we have given them all economic and social support that we could, because we're real brothers. I don't like to speak to them as brothers, mainly the followers of Santander, who are the main poisoners. I like to call them, I really don't know what word to use. I used to use the word New Grenadians or Neogranadinos in Spanish, that the Colombians are the one who come from Simón Bolívar, the one who he addressed when he was living in this world. They are the real Colombians for us. They aren't santos. In Spanish, santos means saints. They aren't Uribe either. And they aren't Duque. Duque means Duchess. Duque isn't yet the president, however, he's threatening us with war. He's just a low-level worker of the group of workers of the IDB.
Esos tenían un nombre hace unas
They
décadas,
used
¿no?
to
Los
have a name,
tecnócratas.
technocrats. They were also called Yuppies. They still have some of this. And they have never been to Venezuela. And they have only been linked with Miami. They moved from the north to the south. Old names from Colombia, like Mr. Alfonso Lopez, former ambassador in London, felt closer to London, to the British culture, to British costumes as well, until Mayameros took over. That segment, which is the oligarchy in Colombia, or Cundinamarca, or Bogota, or Nueva Granada. It has nothing to do with the avenue called Nueva Granada in Caracas. This is a city where we have a bridge named Santander, and I don't really know the reason why. I think it was a funny concession given by an enthusiast of regional fraternity. How many millions of Colombians do we have here in Venezuela? Around 5 or 6. Do you know the exact number? No, and they are still here. So there's 5.6 million Colombians here. They have free health, free education, all the benefits. And brotherhood without restrictions, without discrimination. And this is a way of voting. Because instead of having Dr. Varito or President Santos, they come to a different country. They come to Venezuela. They walk, they cross the border, and it's like exercising their vote. And how are they paying us everything that we have done for them? Well, with a threat. And it isn't only a threat. They have concrete war plans because they're crazy. And Dr. Varito, which is of course a nickname for Álvaro Uribe, felt a lot of resentment after a very strong response given by Chavez. This is something I would like you to go deep into. Please take as much time as you need. Listen, one of his last statements as a president with a lot of pretension, he said that he needed more time to invade Venezuela. So macho, right? And may God bless Chavez, because Chavez said, you did not lack time, you lacked balls or cojones. And the word cojones, that is very wide used in English as well, clearly identifies Venezuelans in their collectivity and individuality. And with this cojones, we will withstand every single attempt to invade our country. And with this cojones, we're going to go to war if we are forced to do so in the neighboring territory. And we're going to reach the Pacific. And I am speaking about the Pacific because there's someone we don't speak about. However, our independence war took place in the Pacific of South America. This includes Colombia, the one from Bolivar, of course. It includes Ecuador. It includes Bolivia when they had access to the sea. It includes Peru. And it even includes Chile. Chile is a very long country with thousands of kilometers on the Pacific, and we gave them some social freedom as well as academic and legal liberty with Andrés Bello. When you see this blatant attempt, you really start thinking whether these people understand that this country exists because someone born in Caracas, called Simón Bolívar, created it. Do these people understand that it's shameful from a historic point of view to have 7 or 9 bases with states and now granting them all the space, and now whatever happens with a soldier of the states in Colombia, well, they cannot do anything. No. Their murderers have impunity. The case of Posada Carriles is shameful. He was responsible for the murder of 77 young guys who were traveling from Cuba to Barbados, and this person died in the midst of miserable old age. He was filled with miserable people in the state of Florida. I lived this very closely because I had to go to Strasbourg. However, I changed my plans and I stayed here. I had to go to Strasbourg University. And there was a photographer. And we were, of course, part of the news, but he was part of this. He was part of this. And he was killed in the plane. that blew up in the air. But I didn't understand how he kept this stab alive and how he committed a crime as this. But everything that we are trying to avoid is part of us and it is around us. So where are we going with your diplomatic experience? Well, I think that we need to neutralize. And I am sure that our armed forces and our intelligence force will know what to do in a timely fashion. As diplomats often say, we're going to do so in a timely fashion. But this country is now filled with militia, with killers, with drug dealers. And they come from the Neogranadino state. They have given them all the facilities that Venezuela offers to try to force us to implode. Now, with the maniac of the White House, who has bought everything, he was only missing the presidency, but he was able to achieve it. However, when you're the president, you're also the commander-in-chief. And now he wants to do that. Well, this is what he does. He is not the best person, and he has a grotesque, miserable style. What do you think we have ahead of us? There's a clear plan. Listen, I'm going to change what I was going to say for the people who are not part of this. But there's no one as interested as the war between Washington and Caracas that people in Colombia. They are the aircraft carrier of this. Listen, this subject of interest, both who come and those who go, are the same. For example, Mr. Santos and his sinister family, they created a peace process which started and ended with Hugo Chavez, our commander, who believed, and this was his message, this is not time for the armed war. This is the time to trust the people. And we worked our best with a brotherly spirit, with the best intentions, with the best of all intentions, trying to support the peace process in Colombia. And this, of course, had huge stakes, even physical stakes at some point, as the case of Admiral Rodriguez Chacín, who would go to the deepest, darkest, and most threatening areas of the Colombian jungle to contact militiamen with the authorization of the Colombian government and with any risk at stake, take them to Havana to the peace talks. I was in Havana for a whole day talking with these people. We had lunch, we spoke about all things, but there was a clear spirit of setting things in order, and they believed in the good faith of people. However, Santos had already a president, and in my book that was 7 times sold out, I speak about that. Well, with Santos, we lost a good part of our national territory. And I said, Santos will not stop until their family have another president. Then we're going to see what they do. Well, and this comes with their genes. These are the genes of treason. Juan Manuel Santos is a liar. And this is part of the culture of the oligarchy of Nueva Granada. This is not the Colombian culture. Colombia, founded by Bolívar, is a country of high-level intellectuals. And there's a word that I forgot. It's called alto coturno in Spanish, and it means the highest level of intelligence and instruction. But there's a difference between the Colombians that I know, the intellectuals, the priests, the real Christians and Catholics, social fighters as well. Colombia is a completely different country. That's why it deserves its name, and the other one should be called just basically inhabitants of Nueva Granada. This would be the colonial name of the other Colombia. I had the honor of meeting Camilo Torres' mom when we were working in the Christian left wing in Uruguay. I was no longer in the armed forces. Well, we were the creators of the White Front. This is not a Marxist invention. It came from the Christian democracy. And we said, well, this charming country can become very, very difficult. And if we don't come to agreement, these things will not change because the power has its roots here already. It was during the Cold War. And the Secretary General of the Communist Party, I will not speak about his name. And we told him, listen, we are Christians. That's why we want social justice. They say that we come from the left wing and we are okay with this. However, we need to create a white front because it will not change if we don't do so. His answer was, but come on, white front with whom? With Juan Pablo Terra and 5 other lads like you? Come on. Well, we created the White Front, and Juan Pablo Terra was a very interesting person. And this is what's happening with some of Chavists due to the opinion of the communists who don't understand absolutely anything and who are enjoying this heroic process that we have with Maduro in this country. And with Chavez previously, of course.
Bueno, la cosa grave es que tenemos un señor Trump en la Casa Blanca y está decidido a hacer historia.
However, Trump is in the White House and he has decided to make history. Why? Well, because I've said this already. He's the president and he's the commander-in-chief and he also wants to have his own action. However, his visit to Europe now was ridiculous. It could have been worse. The demonstrations in London against him can be just as big as the ones of the French celebrating the World Cup yesterday. Yes, it's something never seen before what happened to him in London. And here we have live images of the Air Force One. That's the name where the president is on board. And it has already arrived. Let's take a look at this. There it is. They are waiting for Trump to get out of the plane. I can see everything happening right now. And his name is perfect for puns because Trump is like a trumpet and he is very loud. But he doesn't go deep. And it also sounds like trickery in French. And he fulfills both conditions perfectly. They're very well developed by him. And I think that this comes together with all his evil and prejudice against foreigners, against children, against the black people, against free borders. Now I remember a gaucho expression of Rio de la Plata, particularly in Uruguay, I don't know, Argentina. And they say, there's always a good trump, but what are you going to bring? Well, and it speaks about someone who isn't as strong as they want to be. This will take some time. Well, I think that he has his own makeup artist there in order to fix his hair. And whenever it's necessary, the director will let us know, and we will see the images. Let's analyze this Trump's tour as diplomat that you are. Well, honestly, I don't really know if he's trying to create something or to consolidate something. I would rather say consolidate because he's taking some steps back to some people that were afraid in Europe.
Porque llegó pateando la cristalería, ¿no?
Well, he came thinking he was the Ne plus ultra, but I don't know how much respect or credibility he could expect from Europe, a continent that had the best culture.
Me gusta lo de alguna vez.
Well, you're speaking about Europe and you're speaking about the past, about their cultures. Well, Europe today is shameful. France is not as good as it was when the Wall was president, and Germany is not as when Adenauer was president. And we're going to grant a concession. We're going to live this like this. I am tempted to say this. The goal was followed by right-wing men, but they were noble with the grandeur. And I remember Pompidou, Giscard d'Estaing, and some other characters at a very, very high level. Even Chirac. Chirac had a very good relationship with us, and he was friends with Chavez. They had a lot of appreciation, and he gave us a lot of support. And starting from this point, the mediocres came. Mediocres as Sarkozy. I usually call him Sarkozy. And that's in Hungarian. Well, the reading, it's kind of difficult. So he was in the big theater. Oh, here they are. The president and the first lady. The first lady is very beautiful and looks very dignified. She speaks little. This is good. Good for both. Because maybe she speaks better than him. That's very likely. But this is maybe the worst that has ever happened to the States. Maybe Bush Jr. was almost as bad. Yeah, but he's worse. He's there in the base and he's being escorted to his limousine. Well, Bush Jr. was at least nice. He wasn't a bitter man. Yes, he could press a button and, of course, destroy an entire city. And in order not to go to Vietnam, he went to the air reserve. And this is the helicopter. As soon as he steps in, will be called Marine 1. Now it is called Marine 1. It is under the jurisdiction of the Marine Infantry of the state. They are responsible for security. So now, this helicopter is called Marine 1 because the infantry is the one providing transport to him. This is live and in full development. This is happening right now. You are the one who should speak. Walter, you would be called in Germany. Yes, they used to call me like that with the army and the armed force. There was an interesting anecdote. We were in the officers' casino after a very long day, and there were the logos of all the historic units of the German Air Force. And all of a sudden, someone said, "You're looking at those signs. Which one do you like the best?" And I said, "That one." I didn't hesitate, the one with the palm tree. And they asked me why. And I said, because it comes from the Africa Corps. And Rommel, General, was there. And from that moment on, I was another German. They forced him to die. I often alarm people about this. Well, what can we extrapolate from this? There's a TV channel that I would recommend because they have some great cultural and scientific shows. They also show daily life events. It's called Deutsche Welle. It means something like the German wave, but it has a given bias. It only publishes news against Venezuela and Nicaragua. I think this is a band of crypto-Nazis. I never expected this because I visited the Deutsche Welle and things were different. But you see all kinds of things in the world. I would recommend this to you so that you can see how many enemies we have and were. And this is not only against us and Nicaragua, But
la
of
caquita, ¿no?
course,
O
they
sea, como el pato criollo,
bring
eso se dice en Río
all
Verdad,
the
cada dos
bad
pasos,
things
cuan, cuan.
where they can.
Increíble, onomatopéyico.
Sí.
¿A dónde vamos con
So
esto?
where
Esto
are
es una
we
guerra
headed
dura,
with this? This
Nos
is
vienen
a
con
very
todo.
difficult
pensar
war.
en-
They are all in.
En el Papa Francisco,
It
él
makes me
hace
think about Pope Francis.
como 3 años alertó sobre la
About
posibilidad
3
de una
years ago, he
conflagración,
spoke about
como
the
dicen los
possibility
periodistas, lugar comunistas, conflagración
of
bélica
a
La veía
creation
lunga.
of war
mundial.
in the world.
Hay locos.
And there are maniacs in power.
Se me olvidó
I
hablar de nuevos
forgot to
enemigos
speak
como
about our new enemies
los nuevos líderes de
as the
Francia,
new leaders of France,
que dan vergüenza.
who
Cuando
are
uno ve al
shameful.
presidente
When you see
Macron
President Macron
tomado de la manito
holding hands
por el presidente Trump
with President Trump
para introducirlo a los salones de la Casa Blanca,
while bringing
A mí me
him
da eso
in
que
and
llamamos en
welcoming to the
Venezuela
White House,
vergüenza ajena,
I feel ill
porque una Francia
because a
noble,
country of France
altiva,
as
orgullosa,
noble, as proud
como la queremos y como la amamos,
as the one that we love
no anda
and
agarrado de
cherish
manito con el jefe
will never
perseguidor
shake hands with
de los
Trump.
agresores internacionales. Y sin
Aquella de
embargo,
la
eso está
politique.
pasando.
Sí, sí,
And
eso
this
fue
is what is
patético.
happening.
Yo me
This is
acuerdo la
pathetic.
politique de grandeur de la que hablaba de Gaulle.
I remember
¿Qué hubiera
the
pasado?
grande
De Gaulle era
politique of
grande,
the
pero
goal.
también con su
The
propio
goal was
pensamiento
also
Mitterrand.
big, but
François
also
Mitterrand.
Mitterrand
Era un
was very
hombre que
big with
leía
his own
libros.
thought. He was a
Y
reader,
De Gaulle fue un presidente
while de Gaulle was a
de una
president
derecha progresista que
of a
pensaba en la
progressive
justicia
right wing that
social,
thought about social justice,
en ofrecer salud
providing
al pueblo
help
francés
to the
y
French
una serie
people,
de ventajas de un buen
as well
gobierno
as many other
que
advantages of a
estos
good
actualmente
government.
enfrentando huelgas y acusaciones de
And
corrupción
currently,
Fue
this
aquel que
one
les hablaba,
face
hablar-
accusations
desde la
of corruption
BBC de
as well
Londres a la
as
Francia ocupada,
demonstrations.
hablándole
And
del
the
orgullo y del
BBC
futuro
would
y de
speak
la
to the
lucha.
Es un
occupied
héroe
France
de
about the
guerra,
Un héroe
future.
de guerra.
pero con ese
He
orgullo
is a war
que es
hero.
nuestro no tiene por qué
However,
ser
with this
francés, aunque
proud,
sin embargo
it is
tenemos un lugar
ours, even
de honor
though
en la historia
we
de
have a
Francia.
place of honor in the history
Debemos
of
estar
France.
nosotros
We are the
en
ones
capacidad
that should have the
de
capacity
resistir
to
la
withstand,
invasión
to
colombiana
resist the Colombian
neogranadina,
invasion. Well, no,
y
it's not Colombian. It
responder
comes from Nueva
penetrando hasta el
Granadina
Océano Pacífico
and
a
penetrate
través del
up to the
territorio
Pacific
neogranadino.
Ocean in the
Porque hay que hablar
territory
de
of
eso.
Nueva
Bien,
Granada.
vamos a hablar a
And we need to
calzón
speak
quitado.
about this.
Sí.
Let's speak
Este es
directly
el peor escenario que
with
se-
no
Calzón, pero
covers.
calzón quitado no, de otra clase de calzón.
Sí,
Well, this is a different type of
Porque
cover, right?
los neogranadinos se han
Because
bajado
people
el
in
calzón
Nueva Granada have taken away
para
all
dar-
their covers
exactamente.
and their trousers as well.
Bueno, la palabra calzón tiene diferentes connotaciones, pero
There's
digamos
a different
pantalones.
connotation of these words in
Sí,
Spanish,
nuestros viejos
however.
hablaban de calzones.
Onisaki Malipons.
Sí, creo que
So here, yeah,
nuestros llaneros usan esa palabra
I
calzón
think that
también.
people, the llaneros, use the
Se
word
los bajaron completico y
calzones.
no se
It
los han
means
subido.
underwear, and they dropped them
Los
and they
gringos siguen
haven't
atentos a que no se los
worn
suban.
them again. And of
Están
course, the
listos
Americans
a
are
hacer
waiting for
el
this to
maldito
happen.
papel de
And they are
traidores
ready to
a
become
su
the
propia sangre y a
traitors
su propia patria
to their own
grande.
blood and to their own
Fieles a-
motherland.
Y con un energúmeno como el de la
And
Casa
with a
Blanca,
maniac as the one in the
que
White
quiere ser
House,
comandante en jefe
who
y
wants to
quiere-
be the
cree que esto va a ser
commander in
suave.
chief, and he believes that he is going to
Recordar
have it easy.
neogranadenos,
Remember,
quienes
people from Nueva Granada
los fundaron como Colombia,
who founded you as
quienes se
Colombia,
batieron por ustedes
and who were the
y por
ones
Colombia la Grande,
who fought for
en
you
los
and
campos de
for
batalla,
Colombia in the battlefields,
para caerle por encima y por detrás a las mejores tropas
to hit
españolas,
the best Spanish
Boyacá.
troops in Boyacá,
mientras el general Santander
while General Santander
se escondía.
was hiding.
Eso es inapelable.
Totalmente. Por cierto, yo recomiendo,
Además,
Porque-
cuando cruzamos nuestra frontera fue para darle
Listen,
libertad
when we crossed our
y
borders,
patria a
it was
5
there
naciones.
to give freedom
Exactamente.
and nation to 5 countries.
no a destruirla como hicieron los de la NATO con Yugoslavia. A Yugoslavia la convirtieron en 5 o 6 naciones.
Yugoslavia
La fuerza
was
de
turned
plomo de
into
matar
5 or
El
6
Mariscal
countries by
Tito
killing
ya no era
people.
bueno.
Mariscal
Ya no
Tito
era
was no
bueno.
longer good.
¿Y qué hicieron con la Libia de Gaddafi? Que la
And what did
recorrí de
they
norte a
do
sur y
with
de sur a
Gaddafi's
norte.
Libya? I've
Mejor, de
been
sur a
through
norte y de norte a sur.
out all
Ahora es
that
un
country.
Era,
It's
era
now a desert.
envidiable el estándar de vida.
Es un
They
desierto
had
de
a
educación.
very good standard of
Todo
living,
lo que necesitaban.
free
Hablaban con
education,
Gaddafi y
free
era como
health,
hablar con el
everything
papá.
they needed.
Entonces hay
Speaking
que
to
estar
Gaddafi
preparados
was
para
like
La Irak
speaking
de
to their
Saddam Hussein,
dads,
lo
and
mismo.
also Iraq of Saddam Hussein, the same
De
thing.
este país no podrán hacer un desierto.
They will not
Hay
make
demasiado verdor,
a desert out of this country. It is too
demasiada
green,
fertilidad
it
en
is
el
too
aire, en el
fertile
ambiente, en
in
el
the
agua.
air, in the
Entonces,
environment, in the water.
parodiando un poco algún
So,
discurso
as a parody to one of the
famoso de Winston
speeches
Churchill,
given by Winston Churchill,
los enfrentaremos en las montañas,
we
en
will
los
fight
ríos,
them in the mountains, in the
en los
rivers,
desiertos, pensando en
in the
nuestros
deserts,
médanos de coro, en
thinking
nuestras costas, en
about
nuestros valles.
our valleys, our
Porque tenemos
coasts.
valles y algunos pueden ser vulnerables.
We have
Yo me
some
fui a
valleys
hacer un
that could be
peregrinaje
vulnerable.
en la zona donde desembarcaron en Normandía, ¿no?
Well,
Y uno
I
ve
had a
todas esas
pilgrimage
cruces
through
que
Normandy, and
cayeron
you
allí,
see all these
y
checkpoints,
dice uno, caramba, por no decir otra cosa más efónica,
and you said,
¿habremos
damn,
aprendido esa lección?
did we learn a
Sí.
lesson, or are
Seguimos
we
teniendo
going to
enemigos en casa,
continue with
hermanos en
the enemy at
Cristo.
home,
Yo
with
tengo
brothers that
confianza
give
cuando
in?
dices hermanos, no sé si te refieres a los compatriotas, que eso es una vergüenza.
Well, when you speak about
Yo siento
brothers,
mi
I don't know if
indignación
you
con
speak about those who are
presentando supuestas evidencias
those who live in our
comillas,
country, those who
para
create
que nos
false
invadan y nos
evidence.
castiguen,
Por
por querer ser libres.
querer ser libre
They
y
want
por
to
tener
punish us
orgullo.
to be free and for being proud.
Perdón, tenemos un video, señor director.
We have a video,
Tenemos
don't
listo.
we, director?
Y cuando lo tengan a tiro me avisa,
Well,
señor.
whenever it's ready, just let me know.
Dígame. Sí, tenemos lo que mencionábamos, entre otros, un sacerdote que las cantó claras y me pareció muy interesante.
Listen, there was something
Yo
very clear.
pertenezco a la facción
Well,
de
I
la
belong
democracia
to the
cristiana,
faction of the Christian democracy
que en algunos momentos de la historia de Venezuela
that at a given
estuvo
point
totalmente
of the
solidaria
history of
con el padre
Venezuela was
Camilo Torres,
supportive of
un hijo de la
Father
oligarquía
Camilo Torres, a son
pero
of the
fundamentalmente
Colombian
amigo del
oligarchy,
pueblo colombiano,
but however, a
que
son
murió,
of the Colombian
que
people
empuñó el fusil por el
who
pueblo
died
colombiano.
fighting
Hay
for
muchos
the
curas
Colombian
en
people.
Colombia que
And there are many
Que están
priests in
dispuestos a
Colombia
sacrificar a los mercaderes del
who are
templo,
willing
¿no?
to do the same thing.
Yo tuve el honor de atender a la
I
mamá
had
de
the
Camilo
honor
Torres en Uruguay con
of
la
listening
izquierda
to
cristiana,
Qué
Camilo
orgullo que
Torres' mom
y tuve el
with
honor de almorzar codo a codo con Luis
left
Carlos
Christian
Galán,
wing, and
que
I
me
also
dijo, voy
spoke
con
with
todo
Luis
contra
Carlos
esto,
Malan,
aguanta.
who
En
said, I am
Colombia
all in against
asesinan
this. In Colombia, they
a los
kill
que tratan de levantarse para
those who try
Dignificar, ¿no?
dignificar el
to
país.
stand
Luis
up
Carlos
to
Galán es
dignify
uno,
the country. Luis Carlos Galan
Jaramillo,
is just one of them.
Pardo,
Jaramillo is another. Pardo is
Gaitán,
another.
no,
Gaitan is
Gaitán.
another.
Y
Huh,
se
Gaitan.
se nos va de la mano
It
el volumen de héroes
goes
que ha
out of hand
producido
number of heroes that
lo que
have
yo
been
llamo
born
Colombia
in what I still
frente a la
call
agresión
Colombia
neogranadina.
against the aggression of
Colombia es un
Nueva
país de
Granada.
héroes.
Colombia is a country of heroes.
La Nueva Granada es un
Nueva
segmento
Granada
de cobardes.
is a faction of cowards.
Asesinos, narcotraficantes,
Murderers, drug
contrabandistas,
traffickers, smugglers,
vendepatrias.
those willing to sell their country.
abigeos.
Vamos a escuchar este video.
We're going to
Verlo,
listen to this
porque
video.
por
Do you
algo
want to
es
see
video,
it?
¿no?
Do you want to watch
Señor
it?
director.
Director.
Señor Álvaro
Mr.
Uribe Vélez.
Álvaro Uribe Vélez.
Señor Iván Duque,
Mr. Iván Duque.
el primero senador de la República
First Senator of the Republic
de la Organización Centro Democrático,
and manager of the Centro Democrático organization,
presidente.
and the second
unos colombianos.
president of the Colombians.
A ustedes dos
Both of
me
you.
dirijo.
I am
Con
addressing
nombre
both
propio.
of you by name.
Yo soy el padre Ramiro Arango.
My name is Father Ramiro
Soy de
Arango.
Cali,
I come from Cali.
vivo en Cali,
I live in Cali.
pero soy de un pueblo del norte del
However,
valle.
I come from a valley in the north called
Para que me
Roldanillo,
identifique.
just so you can identify me.
Yo le envío este mensaje
I am
a
sending
ustedes.
you this message.
A ustedes dos.
I am sending it to you too,
El uno,
one of you
quien ha dirigido
who
la
has
política
directed
de la extrema
politics
derecha de
of
este
the
país
right wing of this
en los
country
últimos años,
during the last years
con unas presuntas oscuridades
with
bien grandes
certain events that are very, very dark, that have costed the life
de muchísimos
of many
hermanos colombianos
brothers of Colombia,
y el cual usted ha intensificado
and which you have intensified with your hatred,
con su acérrimo odio
with your blatant
crisis
hatred, the
de la
crisis
paz
of peace
que en este momento se vive.
that today we're going through.
Yo soy un cura,
I am a
no
priest,
romano.
but I am non-Roman.
Sépalo bien, no soy romano.
You should know this. I am non-Roman.
Ni se le dirija
And don't address
el señor Fernando Londoño
Fernando Londoño
a volver a atacar
to attack once again
al señor arzobispo de Cali,
the Archbishop
Monseñor
of Cali, Monsignor
Darío de Jesús.
Darío de Jesús.
Él no es mi obispo,
He is not my bishop,
ni actúo por órdenes
and I
de mis
am not
obispos.
working under order of any
Actúo
bishop.
a conciencia.
I am acting based on my
Señor.
own conscience.
Usted
Mister,
creo que tiene alma.
I think that you have a soul.
Cuando por sus hechos y actuaciones
However, due to the things that you have done, you may not have one.
usted, señor Álvaro Uribe,
You, Mr. Álvaro
le
Uribe,
ruego en nombre
I
de Dios,
beg of you, in the name of
el
God,
Dios que usted se
the
ufana
God
y profana con
that
su boca,
you speak of with your own mouth, with your own words, on behalf of this God, the God of the armies, the God of the poor, the God of the excluded,
de aquellos
the God
los
of
cuales
those
usted,
who you, due to either action or omission, presumably
asesinado.
have killed.
Yo sé que en este momento,
I know that
al
today,
decirle a una persona
when I tell a person
que para mí es el ser humano más
that
peligroso,
for me is the most dangerous human being in the planet, not only my country,
el hombre
but the
que
whole
más
planet,
daño le ha hecho al
the
país,
person who has created more harm
a los
on the
pobres, a los
country, on the
humildes,
poor, on the humble,
el gobierno más corrupto,
the most corrupt government,
implicado en los falsos positivos
part of the false
son
positives that are not
y en la
just a lie,
conformación,
and in the
muy
creation,
posiblemente,
most
y lo
likely,
digo posiblemente,
and I say
por los
likely,
ríos judiciales,
due to the legal
porque la
troubles that this
justicia
could bring, because
usted
justice
también la maneja.
is also managed by you.
Bueno, esto es como para quedarse unos segundos en silencio para terminar
We
de
should be
digerir
silent
coraje
for a couple of
cínico.
No
seconds
he
to
terminado
understand
de
this.
digerirlo.
I haven't
Ese es
yet
un héroe
finished understanding everything.
en procura de una inmolación.
This is a hero
Está jugando
who
en
is
ese-
going to be
en ese
burned
está provocando.
En el narcoestado
because
vecino,
in the drug state that we
es
have as
inaceptable
neighbors,
lo que él está haciendo.
what he's doing is unacceptable.
Posiblemente lo van a matar.
He
Ojalá
will
que no.
most likely be killed. I
Ojalá
hope
que
not.
Pueda protegerse.
I hope that he is able to protect himself.
Eres un héroe.
He's a hero.
Así son los héroes.
This is what heroes do.
En el nombre de Dios.
In the name of God. Amen.
Tengo otro sonido. Hay
I
que
have
agradecer en esto
more
a la
information,
doctora
and we need
Alida
to
Sanoja
thank
Manero,
Dr. Alida Sanoja Manero,
que es prácticamente la coproductora de honor en ahora de Dossier,
who's the ad honorem
cierto,
co-producer of
mamá
Dossier,
de Erika Ortega Sanoja,
and also the mother of Erika Ortega Sanoja, our brilliant congresswoman who was also working in the jungle that I have been through, all the things that I've seen, and all the things that are still
Hay una
there.
maestra,
However, there is a
parece que
teacher,
decía las cosas
and
con el
she,
deber de formar conciencia.
well, apparently was saying things in order to create awareness,
Tiene que irse de acá.
and a higher
No, pero
gun
es que porque
threatened
tiene que
her.
irse o la matamos. Y
And
aquí
she was told
asesinamos a
to
quien nos
leave,
da la gana.
and
Por
they
ahí vino
say,
el verso,
you
señor
either
director.
do this or
Escuchen
we
la
kill
voz de la
you.
maldad.
Listen to the voice of evil.
Necesito darle un comunicado que lo escuche con mucha atención.
This is a statement
y lo
that you
maneje
need
con
to pay
absoluta
attention
reserva.
to.
Ya, pero
Por el
bueno,
bien suyo.
I will do so
Pero,
in
señor
reserve.
Carlos Mario, Señor Carlos Mario, quiero que me diga una
Listen,
cosa.
sir,
De
please
acuerdo a
tell
su
me,
expresión, lo sentiría
according
como una
to your
amenaza.
expression,
Y
this
no
feels
entiendo por qué.
like a
No
menace, like a
entiendo
threat,
por
and
qué.
I don't understand why.
Estamos
We
advirtiendo
are
que le
not
vamos a dar un
threatening you. We're
comunicado.
just
Que lo
warning you
escuche
that
con
we're
mucha
going to
atención
give you a
y lo maneje con
statement.
absoluta reserva. ¿Me
You
entendió?
need to be
No,
very
no me grite.
reserved about this.
No me grite
Please
que
don't
no
raise your
estoy
voice.
entendiendo.
Hágame un favor.
Listen,
Coja sus
listen.
cositas y
Take
se me
your
va de la
things
región.
and leave the
Porque yo
region.
aquí no vengo a que usted me diga cómo
Because
tengo que hacer
here,
las cosas.
I
Lo
am
que
not
pasa es que
waiting
el hecho
for
de
you to
trabajar
tell me how
es
to do
malo,
things.
el
What
hecho de
have I
haber
done?
elevado
Is
un centro
working bad?
educativo de institución
Is
es malo.
creating an
Yo no le veo
education
cuál es el
center bad?
problema.
I don't see the
Señora,
problem with
a
this.
mí no me hable así
Lady,
si no
please
quiere
don't
morirse.
speak to me like
No
that
me
if you don't
espere.
want to
Le
die.
estoy hablando de buena forma. Le
I
vengo a
am
dar un
saying
comunicado.
things in the
Si no lo
right
quiere
way. I am
recibir y me va a
sending a
poner peros
statement.
y me va a decir cómo tengo
If
que
you're
hablar y qué
going
tengo
to
que
tell
decir,
me what to
entonces,
say and how
señora,
to speak,
qué
then,
pena con usted,
lady,
señora
I
de
am very
Yanira.
sorry.
Ballesta
Lady
se tiene que ir de
de
esta
Yanira,
región.
you will have to
Oh,
leave this region,
asesino. Usted
or
sabe
I
que
will
nosotros
kill you.
acá
And you know
asesinamos a
that
quien nosotros
here
nos dé
we
la
kill
gana. ¿Me
whoever we
entendió?
want to. Is it clear?
Aló.
Pues mande su comunicado a ver qué es lo que quiere.
Okay, send.
No,
Send
pero
whatever
señora,
you
pero
want.
usted no tiene que hablarme en ese tono.
No,
Yo aquí
you
ya no le
should
voy a dar
not keep
nada.
this tone.
Simplemente hágame un favor y
Just please
váyase de
do
la región.
something. Leave
O
the
yo mismo le
region.
comunico
Or I
a
will
las
be the
personas
one
encargadas de la educación de
telling the
aquí
people in
que si
charge of
usted se queda aquí en
education
la
here
región,
that
me
if
la
you
van a
stay
tener
in
que
the
recoger
region,
muerta.
they're
Porque
going
es que
to
es una
have
persona grosera.
to
Para ser una
take you
educadora,
dead
es una persona
because
que no sabe
you are
hablar.
rude. You're
¿Cómo quiere
someone
que le
who
hable a usted
doesn't
cuando
know how
usted me
to
está
speak.
hablando de una forma amenazante?
What do you want me to
¿Cómo
tell?
quiere usted que yo le hable?
You are threatening me. How do you want me
Yo
to
he
speak?
sufrido mucho, yo he sufrido mucho.
A mí no me
I've
interesa
been
si usted
through a
ha
lot.
sufrido o no ha sufrido la
I
guerra,
don't
eso a
care.
nosotros no
I
nos
don't care
interesa.
if you
Eso a
have
mí no
been
me
through war or
interesa.
not. I don't
Eso a mí
care
no me
about this.
interesa,
I don't care
profesora.
about this.
Simplemente le iba a dar un comunicado. Se
Listen,
puso de
lady,
grosera.
this is
Entonces
just
ahora,
a
de
statement. You are
inmediatamente,
rude,
se
so
va de la región
immediately you
o
will
queda
have
declarado
to leave
objetivo
the
militar.
region
Yo he
or
sido
you will
llamar
be a
profesora
military
a sus
objective.
superiores y
I will
decirles que si
immediately
quieren recoger un
call
muerto,
my
que usted
people
siga trabajando aquí en San Pablo.
and
Así de
tell them
sencillo,
that
profesora.
if
Usted
you
quiere las
want
cosas así,
to
así lo vamos
stay
a
in
hacer.
San
¿Usted qué
Pablo,
cree que
you are
usted está
going to
hablando
be
con un
killed.
payaso o qué,
You're not
profesora?
speaking to a
Pues qué
clown.
pena, señor, como hay gente que
I
le
am very
gusta hablar
sorry with
bobadas.
you who like to
Por
speak
eso.
like this.
O sea, que yo le estoy hablando a usted bobadas.
Oh, you think that I'm lying?
¿Cómo en un principio cree usted que yo voy a
How
saber
do you
que,
think that I'm going to know
que la
or be
persona que me
aware
está
that the
hablando,
person who
lo
is
que
calling me,
identifica, me está
Yo
diciendo
le
una
hablé,
who is
realidad?
an identifier, is telling me
le
the
hablé a
truth?
usted de buena forma. ¿Usted qué me
Listen,
dijo a mí? A mí no me
I
hable
was
así,
speaking
a mí no
nicely,
me
and then you
grite,
start
a mí
saying
yo
your
no le
things.
grito. Usted me está... No, profesora, mira, hágame
You
un
were
favor, yo no tengo
shouting.
que hablarle como tenía las explicaciones. Coge tu
Listen, I don't
plástico,
have
coge
to
y se va de la
give you
región.
any
¿Me
explanations.
entendió?
Take every single thing you have and
Hágame el
leave the
favor y va
region.
por esa
Is this
hijueputa.
clear?
Y
Do
tiene
it,
que mandar
please.
la máquina.
Esto es un ejemplo de la cotidianeidad
Well, this is an
en la
example
hermana
of
república.
the day-to-day life in
Lo ha
the
dicho muy
Republic
bien,
of
esa
Colombia.
cotidianeidad
That's a very good word,
que
day-to-day life.
ignoran las cadenas mediáticas
This is, of course,
internacionales y
ignored
que,
by
por supuesto,
international
ignoran
channels and, of course, even
los
more
medios
ignored by the
neogranadinos.
media
Seguro que en
of Nueva
CNN
Granada.
o en todas las
I am
cadenas
sure that
filiales a los intereses
CNN
geopolíticos
and
del
any
señor
other
Trump no
channel
va a
that is
aparecer
linked
esto.
No,
with
porque
Mr.
además está
Trump will not
controlado
show
por
this.
neogranadinos.
No, because it is
Y además, ¿qué
controlled by
importa
people of Nueva
muerte
Granada.
más?
And what do we care about another dead person?
Colombia ha ofrecido millones de muertos
Colombia
en la lucha por su libertad.
has
Con
shown
personajes
thousands of people killed
cuatriboliados como el
fighting
cura,
for their freedom, with
o
people as
cuatriboladas
the
como la señora
priest
profesora.
and as the
O
teacher,
como Luis Carlos Galán,
and
con
Luis
quien tuve el
Carlos
orgullo
Galán,
de compartir
who I
y
had the
ofrecí toda mi
honor
colaboración.
Dispuesta a jugárselas
to
con
share
política.
time with, who was
Y
willing to give
completo
it all.
significa ofrecerse a la muerte.
And when you
Es
give it
decir,
all, you're willing to
inmolarse.
die. So you are basically signing your
Yo
death letter.
Veo esto y habiendo
When I
estado en 6
see
frentes de
this,
guerra,
and
habiendo sido
after being in 6
secuestrado,
different
habiendo
war
tenido
fronts,
miles de
after being
aventuras, yo digo,
kidnapped,
¿cómo es
after
posible
having so many
que en
adventures,
este siglo,
I
a
wonder
esta
how,
altura,
in this century,
haya un país donde
in
alguien
this
se
day and
permita
age,
hacer esto?
there's a
Y esto
country
es
where these
chiquitico.
things are
Y
allowed.
pasar por
And this is
democrático.
very small. And they say
Y
it's a
pretender dar
democracy.
lecciones.
And they try to teach lessons in
Premio Nobel de la
democracy.
Paz.
Nobel Peace Prize.
Una banda de asesinos.
A
Y
group of
estafadores.
murderers. Liars.
Yo no puedo entender esto.
I don't understand
Realmente
this.
supera mi capacidad de asombro y le he dado 2 veces la vuelta al mundo, ¿no?
It's
Y he entrevistado
clearly
el terrorista
beyond
más
all.
buscado del mundo,
And
que
I
era
have
Bunidal.
interviewed
Ir
Bunidal, who
a
was the
él era
most
jugarse
wanted
la vida.
terrorist.
Estar con él era jugarse la
Looking
vida.
for him was
Volver de estar con él era
putting
jugarse
your
la
life
vida.
at stake, and
En
coming
algún
back
lugar de
was
Bagdad, que
also
nunca supe cuál era, porque las medidas de
playing
seguridad para ir y venir eran tremendas.
against your life, and I didn't know the place because
Nunca,
I was blindfolded
nunca vi
when I was
hablar
driven
así.
there. But I
Estamos
never
hablando del
saw
terrorista
someone
más
speaking
buscado
like
del
this, and
mundo en
we're
su
speaking
momento.
about the most wanted
Roy
terrorist of the
Chaderton,
world.
al lado de este en el argumento. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué nos está pasando? Bueno, menos mal que estamos en la República Bolivariana de
The
Venezuela.
good thing is that we're in Venezuela, not
Pero
in
yo
Colombia.
aprovecho para alertar a nuestros compatriotas
Ya está bueno.
But I would like
porque
to
ya está
alarm
bueno de discreción
the people of our nation because
y
there is
ya
enough
está bueno de
discretion.
Tú, como
tolerancia.
ex canciller,
As a
te cedo todo
former
el tiempo que
chancellor,
quieras, no te interrumpo.
you have all the time in the world to speak.
Eso me va a cortar
I
porque yo
will
soy un
not
hombre tímido.
interrupt. I am shy,
Entonces no voy
so
a poder seguir
you
hablando.
will
Sí.
interrupt
Ahora
me.
me pregunta,
So,
plantéame temas.
Better ask me
No,
questions.
no, no.
Se me acaba la inventiva.
No.
Pero lo que tengo clarísimo
But something is very clear for
es que
me.
ya está bueno. Tenemos 20 años,
Enough is enough. There's been
casi lo que lleva este proceso,
20 years,
aguantando humillaciones, agresiones,
and we have been
ataques.
through attacks, aggressions,
trucos,
humiliations,
traiciones.
trickery, treason.
Y ya es hora de que nos
And now
alejemos
it's
un
time
poquito
for us
de una famosa expresión de Simón Bolívar.
to get away from
Quien
a famous
decía en
expression
esos
of Simón
tiempos,
Bolívar, who used to say back
A
then,
cada traición sigue un perdón y a cada perdón
there's forgiveness after every
sigue una
treason,
traición.
and after every
Ya basta de
forgiveness there's
perdones.
another treason. But we've had
El
enough
enemigo lo
forgiveness.
tenemos a la puerta y no
The
va a
enemy
tocar.
is at our door, and they will
Va a
not
hacer
be
explotar
ringing.
la puerta.
They will blow it up.
Para eso debemos estar
That's
preparados
why we need to be prepared
con los mejores equipos, pero también
with
con
the
los
best
mejores
equipment,
testículos.
but also with the best
Es
balls.
parte del equipamiento
This is
necesario.
part of the equipment needed.
Y la historia
Hasta para ser papas, ¿no? Porque te acuerdas que en
Even
la
to be a
ceremonia
pope, because remember
pones pendantes habemos.
that in the ceremony, en bones pendantes,
O sea, cosa que sea una papisa.
es la papisa Juana.
Ajá.
so yeah, this is what
En bones
happens even
pendantes
with
sabemos. Es
popes.
parte de la ceremonia.
En bones pendantes sabemos. This is part of the ceremony.
Entonces, tiempos duros tenemos por delante.
So we have tough times ahead of
muy
us.
duros. Más duros
Very,
de lo que
very
la
tough.
gente cree.
Y
Even
muy duros,
tougher
sí,
than
porque
what people
Ahora, de
think.
esos 6 millones
Lo
de
ven a
hermanos
uno como
colombianos que están acá,
Out of the
¿cuántos
6
hicieron el servicio
million
militar?
Colombians, how many did the military service?
No sé,
¿Son turistas?
Are they
son
tourists?
turistas.
They're tourists, maybe?
No sé cuántos
I
de
don't
ellos
know. I don't know
incorporarían
how
sabotaje de
many
Venezuela. Algunos lo
would
harán.
be part of a
Pero la
sabotage in
mayoría
Venezuela.
estoy seguro que no
Some
son.
will, but I think that most will
Han
not,
sido arropados en el buen
because
sentido de la
they
palabra
have been
por
sheltered
Salud, educación, trabajo,
with
paz,
health,
seguridad.
education, peace,
al ver
security.
Esto
shelter.
que se ha dado el gusto de decir esto a una educadora.
Listen,
es
saying this to a
insólito.
teacher is something never seen before.
regañando a la víctima antes de matarla.
They are criticizing the victim
Y no es lo
before
último
killing
que
her.
tenemos para
And this
mostrar.
is not the last we have for you.
Hay otros ejemplos.
We have other
Y
examples.
en ese sentido,
And based on this,
hay una periodista
there's a
que ha dado un
journalist
testimonio
who has provided
fuerte.
her very
Quisiera,
strong
si lo
statement.
tenemos listo, señor
I don't know if it's
coordinador.
ready. Coordinator, please.
Adelante, señor director.
So we're going to listen to it. This is the moment where artillery trucks go through Zulia in Venezuela with missiles and other types of weaponry. According to confirmed information, this is going to the border with Colombia via Táchira. The tension is constant, and the retaliation of President Maduro to Colombia will not stop, insisting on a possible external threat. That's why the armed forces of Colombia are alert in Guajira, Santander, Casanare, Arauca, Guaimía, and part of the Amazon. Members of the military forces of Colombia are specially trained with red flag NATO unitary states for this. So as long as there's a provocation, there will not be any type of retaliation. President Duque said that they will not have an ambassador in Venezuela and they will withdraw from UNASUR. Weapons already identified by Colombian authorities are part of Russian weaponry with a scope of 90 kilometers of distance. And hours before this, a congressman of Colombia said that they had a plan to attack Colombia.
¿Qué te parece? Esto parece
What do you think of this?
la guerra mediática.
It looks like the
Yo
media
le volteo
war.
la expresión.
I would like to turn this
Mientras,
expression over.
Haya respuesta,
As
no
long
habrá provocación.
as there's a response, there will not
Felicito
be
al
any
presidente
provocation. I
Maduro
would
y
like to
felicito al
congratulate
ministro de la
President
Defensa
Maduro and the
y
Minister
a
of
nuestros
Defense
líderes militares
and our military leaders
por ubicar
for being
convenientemente a
able
lo
to
largo de
conveniently
nuestra frontera
locate along our
soberana
border,
todos
as
los
the
equipos
sovereign people we
y
are,
todos los
all the
recursos humanos
equipment and all the human
para
resources
dar una respuesta tan
required to
contundente
provide
que
a
le
strong
cause
answer that will cause
daños
harm
irreparables
beyond repair
a los sectores neogranadinos que
to the
pretendan
sectors
agredir
of Nueva Granada that want to attack our
porque aquí sí
nation.
es verdad eso de que el suelo es
Because
sagrado
it is true. Our land is
y
sacred.
no gratuitamente nuestra gente cruzó los Andes
And our people didn't cross
sin
the Andes for
vestimenta,
free,
sin
without
experiencia,
clothes, without
para derrotar
experience,
en territorio
to
neogranadino, es
defeat
decir, la
in
Colombia de Simón
the
Bolívar,
Colombia of Simón
a
Bolivar
las mejores tropas del rey de
the
España.
best troops of the
Y
King
eran
of
las
Spain,
mejores.
and they were the best, undoubtedly.
Fieles a esa historia,
And
como
faithful
miembro
to
de la
this
patria
history
grande.
and as
Tengo un
members
flash
of the
ahora.
big nation, now I'm
Mira,
remembering
en aquella
something
famosa educación pública de Uruguay,
with the famous public education of
que
Uruguay
incluso sirvió para que aquí crearan aquellos maestros
that
el
was
Instituto de Mejoramiento
even good
Profesional
in
de Mineros,
order
que está aquí en la
to
esquina del canal.
create the
Cuando vino
Teachers
la
Institute
etapa
that
de
is
vamos a
here
educar,
next to the
entonces
channel in
contrataban
the
a
state
los,
where we decided
a
to
los
educate and
maestros,
they
los
hire
educadores de
teachers,
Uruguay,
the best
entre
teachers in
otros.
Uruguay.
Y había
And
un libro
there was a
unos
book,
cuadernos
well,
para
there
aprender
were
caligrafía y
actually
escribir
some
como Dios
notebooks
manda,
to learn
que se llamaban
calligraphy
tabaré, como el
that were
indio de la
called
leyenda
tabaré,
patria.
as the Indian
Y
of
tenían
the
todos los
legend, and they all
símbolos de independencia
had
de
the
las naciones
symbols of
hermanas.
independence
Y
of
recuerdo que en
the
el centro
nations
de la
that were our
contratapa
brothers, and
estaba el arco
in
de
the back
Carabobo.
cover there was the Carabobo Arch.
Fíjate lo que son las cosas, ¿no?
Imagine this.
Alguna vez me tocó estar en el campo de Carabobo y en
So
el arco
I
de Carabobo en un
once
desfile
was
militar,
there
y me vino aquel flashback de los cuadernos que yo usaba
in the military parade, and I
primaria, ¿no? Es
remember
decir,
this,
esto es
the
tan patria
notebooks that I
grande,
had
a
during
menos que
primary
aparezcan
school.
los traidores
And
y
this
los
is the
despáticos, los que
motherland,
ya no tienen
as
otra
long
cosa
as we don't
que
have
estar tan
traders or
sucios
people
que hay
who
que
sell
decir,
their
sí,
nation
si
or
me
who are
perdonan hago lo que
so
ustedes
dirty,
quieran, ¿no?
who are willing to save you, forgive us,
Hemos
we'll do
llegado a ese
whatever we
nivel,
want. And we
la
have
patria
reached
grande,
this lower
no lo
level.
puedo creer.
And this is the
Espero
motherland.
que
I simply
conozcamos
cannot
sus
believe
guaridas.
this. Well, we need to know where they hide.
Yo tengo la sensación de que
I
vamos a
feel
tener que llegar a un punto de
that we will
confrontación,
have
pero con este energúmeno
to
en la Casa
battle them,
Blanca que
but with
quiere
the
ser
maniac in the
comandante en
White
jefe,
House who wants to be
y
the
además lo
commander
único
in
que le
chief
interesa de nosotros
and
es
who
el
only
petróleo.
cares about our oil.
Somos, me cansé de decirlo en el
I
mapa,
have
¿no?
said this
Ya
ad
se lo sabe de
nauseam in
memoria
my
nuestra
map,
audiencia.
and the audience know
Petróleo del Medio
this.
Oriente, que
The
además en el
oil
estrecho de
in the
Hormuz
Middle
hunde
East,
su barco y se trancó todo.
which
45%
is
del
in the
petróleo mundial
Hormuz Strait,
conservadoramente sale por ahí
45% of the oil
y tarda
goes through there,
40 a
and it takes
45 días
between
en
40
llegar
and
a
45
Texas, en
days to
Estados
reach
Unidos. Y el
Texas in
nuestro,
the
que es el
States.
mayor del mundo,
And
tarda
the
de
one that
4 a
we
5
have
días, 10 a 1.
Hay algo
only takes
gracioso
4 days. So it's 4
que se
to
me
1.
ocurre en este
And there's
momento.
something funny that I am thinking about right now.
Los capitalistas mayores de los Estados
The
Unidos
greatest capitalist of the
ven a
States,
Trump como un pobre limpio.
they see Trump as a
Porque
poor
Trump no
person
ha podido
because Trump hasn't been able
hacer más de 2 o 3 mil millones de dólares.
to earn more than
Pero cuando uno lo compara con
2
los
or
grandes
3 billion
propietarios
dollars. If you would contrast
de
his
empresas
fortune with the
electrónicas
owners
militares
of other companies, as
en los
military
Estados
companies,
Unidos, se da
electronic
cuenta
companies in
de
the States,
que
you will be able to
estos tienen
understand
ahorritos por 80, 90
that
mil
they
millones de
have
dólares.
a net worth
Entonces,
over
el pobre
80,
Trump es una
90 billion
suerte
dollars. So
de
Trump
limpio.
for them is
Yo que me
basically
creía
poor.
limpio,
I thought that I was poor,
Mira,
tengo una idea de lo que debe
but
estar
now I have
sintiendo
a
no
different
poder
idea
impresionar, ni siquiera
about
exhibiendo
how
su
he feels, not
musculatura,
being
porque
able
donde
to
va
show
lo
his muscles,
desprecian.
because wherever he goes,
pues esto me
he
trae a memoria
is
un curso que hice en la
mistreated.
Fletcher de
I
Leyes y
remember
Diplomacia Pública en Estados Unidos,
that
cuando
I
la
took
Cuarta
a course
República
in
nos
the
llevábamos más o menos
Fletcher
bien. Y
School
recuerdo que el
of the
jefe de área
States.
de la
We had a good
embajada de Estados Unidos
relationship
dijo, mira,
with the
Walter,
Fourth Republic,
tú no das duro, pero juegas limpio.
and they told
Yo
me,
creo que
Walter,
tú aprovecharías mejor
you are
esta
against
oportunidad
us,
de un curso
but
que hay
you
que cualquier
play fair, and you would
burócrata
be
de la
the one
Cancillería.
who
Estamos
could take
hablando de la
advantage
anterior
of this
república.
better than any other one. This was the
Entonces
previous
hicimos el
republic, of
recorrido de
course.
norte a sur y este a oeste
So
estudiando el
we
lobby, el
went
papel del lobby
throughout
en la toma de
the
decisiones
whole
en la política
lobby
exterior de los
in the
Estados Unidos.
decision making of the foreign policies
Y
of the states.
el almuerzo de despedida fue
And
en el penthouse de la Torre Gemela, esa que ya no
the
existe,
last
y que derrumbaron
launch that we had
automática y premeditadamente.
was in the Twin Towers. I showed a video, and you can see that, of course, it was created on purpose, and you can see how the floors fall one by one. So it's a controlled demolition in order to justify a war. And the electronic control, the electronic brain of the two towers was on fire and also fell to the floor. So this is a clear demonstration that when they want to create a case, even though they don't do so, they will go ahead. The most interesting thing about the man in the White House is that he has his eyes set on us. However, the only lobbies that weren't part of the curriculum was the industrial military apparatus and the pro-Israeli lobby, the two most powerful ones. So what is your experience in Washington or in New York? Whichever. You were in both sides. We need to take them seriously. Even worse with the maniac in the White House who wants to become a war hero. He wants to be the commander-in-chief. I don't want us to be war heroes. However, we have to, we will. 2 minutes to round up. However, it was a very good ending. The nation is in danger. We often act as innocent souls who think that what has happened in the majority of the countries in Latin America will not happen in Venezuela. And sometimes I get upset when I hear powerful people in Venezuela who don't understand the danger. And it is because they don't know about the history of Latin America. So I don't want to create an alarm. I would give everything to have a safe life without any type of fear, as a diplomat who has done more than he had to. Should I be retired? Well, even if our own potential is fragile, you can never abandon a country that is filled with threats and with perverse neighbors. We are surrounded, we are gated, but we're not isolated. And President Maduro is carrying out a foreign policy that multiplies and creates solidarity and support, as well as communication and rapport in different parts of the world. And with this, we have enough oxygen to survive. I would like to remember Paul Coverdell, who was the Speaker of Plan Colombia, and he said, and this is the essence of this, to control Venezuela, Colombia must be occupied militarily. And this is a quote. And they have given the Americans everything they had. The problem is that when they drop their trousers, is that when they start walking, they will fall. Because you cannot walk with your trousers on your knees. And this could happen to them. I think that this is the perfect image. But it's not dignified. It is not at all. Because you fall with your ass up. You fall often with your face, but in this case, you'll be showing your ass. Well, Onisaki Matifasi me le froid. Tell me, you have 30 seconds to close the show. You, who have the most experience as Chancellor and diplomat. What do we have against us? What do we need to do? What is your suggestion? They're watching us throughout the whole country of Colombia. Long live our nation. Long live our nation. Long live our nation. Damn it. Director, the floor is all yours.